The waiting room of Dr. Eris's fertility clinic was painted a calm, soothing shade of sage green, a color specifically chosen to lower the blood pressure of women who were about to spend thousands of dollars on hope. I sat in a plush velvet armchair, the fabric cool against my legs, staring blankly at my phone screen. On the display was a Venmo receipt from 2 days ago. It was for $5,000, a massive sum that represented 6 months of strict budgeting, skipped dinners, overtime shifts, and saying no to everything fun. The memo line read, "Mom's emergency surgery lifesaver red." My thumb hovered over the transaction, a heavy, sinking pit settling deep in my stomach. I was supposed to be using that money today. It was the down payment for my next round of IVF, the baby fund I had guarded like a dragon guarding gold. But when your best friend calls you at 2 a.m. screaming that her mother is dying and the hospital needs cash up front to operate, you don't ask questions. You send the money. You choose the living over the unborn. You do the right thing, even if it hurts. Suddenly, my phone pinged with a sharp, cheerful chime that cut through the hushed, anxious silence of the waiting room like a knife. A notification banner slid down from the top of my screen. It wasn't a text or an email. It was an Instagram alert from an account I barely used. Halston Zoe went live. I frowned, confusion clouding my mind. Halston was supposed to be in a grim hospital waiting room in Ohio, packing the floors, drinking bad coffee while her mother, Petra, underwent life-saving heart surgery. Why would she be going live on social media at a time like that? Curiosity, mixed with a strange, cold sense of dread, made me tap the notification. I wasn't following her from my main account. She had temporarily deactivated hers, claiming the stress was too much, but from an old burner account I used for my photography business years ago. The screen loaded, buffering for a split second before the image snapped into crystal clear focus. My breath hitched in my throat, strangling a gasp. Halston was not in a hospital. She was not crying. She was not holding her mother's hand. She was standing on the sun-drenched deck of a massive yacht, the turquoise water of the Caribbean stretching out endlessly behind her. She was wearing a white designer bikini and holding a bottle of Dom Perignon that cost more than my monthly car payment. She threw her head back, laughing at the camera, and screamed over the thumping bass of house music, "Living my best life on the company dime. Shalom, baby." The world around me seemed to tilt on its axis. The sage green walls blurred into a smudge of color. I closed my eyes, the image of Halston on that yacht burning behind my eyelids like a brand, and my mind flashed back to 48 hours ago. It was 2:13 a.m. on a Tuesday. My phone had rung, the loud tone jarring me from a deep, dreamless sleep. I saw Halston's name flashing in the dark room and answered immediately, adrenaline already spiking in my blood. "Emberly," she had sobbed, her voice thick with panic and terror. "Oh my God, Emberly, it's Mom, it's Petra." "What happened?" I asked, sitting up and shaking my husband, Bowen, awake with my free hand. "She collapsed," Halston choked out, hyperventilating. "Massive heart attack. They have her at St. Mary's, but there's a horrible complication with her insurance. It lapsed last month. The surgeon is a specialist, and he won't operate without a $5,000 deposit for the anesthesia and the specialized equipment. They're going to let her die, Emberly. They're just going to let her die because we're poor." "They can't do that," I said, trying to be rational through my sleep fog. "That's illegal. Emergency rooms have to treat people." "It's a private specialist," she screamed, the sound distorting the speaker. "Please, Emberly, I don't have it. My cards are maxed out from my car repairs last month. I know you have the baby money. I know it's there. Please, I'll pay you back next week when my quarterly bonus hits. It's my mom. It's Petra. She made you cookies when we were kids. Please save her." The desperation in her voice broke me. I looked at Bowen, who was groggy and confused, squinting at me in the dark. I didn't even ask him. I couldn't let Petra die. I logged into my savings account, the one labeled IVF Round 3, and transferred the funds. I watched my balance drop to 0. "Sent," I whispered, feeling a piece of my own heart break. "Save her, Halston." "You're an angel," she wept. "You just saved her life. I have to go, the doctor is calling me." She hung up. I sat there in the dark, terrified for Petra, feeling noble and scared. I had no idea I had just funded a luxury party for a sociopath. Back in the present, the fertility clinic nurse called my name softly. Emberly. I stood up, my legs feeling like lead weights were strapped to my ankles. I have to reschedule, I stammered, unable to meet her eyes. Something came up, a financial issue, I'm sorry. I walked out of the clinic and into the parking lot, the bright sunlight stinging my eyes like acid. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I pulled up the screen recording I had instinctively taken of the Instagram live video. I drove home in a fugue state, the radio off, my mind screaming. When I walked through the door, Bowen was in the kitchen making coffee. He looked up, smiling hopefully. How did it go? Did we get the schedule for the shots? I didn't say a word. I just walked over to him, held up my phone, and pressed play on the video. Bowen watched in silence. I saw his jaw tighten, the muscle feathering as he clenched his teeth. He had never liked Halston. He called her a chaos agent, someone who thrived on drama and used people like stepping stones. But he tolerated her because she was my childhood friend, the girl I had grown up with. Is that? Bowen pointed at the screen, pausing the video. Look at her wrist. Is that a new watch? I squinted. Yes, it looks gold. It's not just gold, Bowen said, his voice low and dangerous. That's the Cartier Panther. I looked at it for you for our anniversary but couldn't afford it. That watch costs $4,000, Emberly. The realization hit me like a physical blow. She didn't just steal your money, Bowen said, looking me in the eye. She's wearing it. She's mocking you with it. She took our future child and turned it into a bracelet. The betrayal transformed right then. It went from shock to a white-hot rage that started in my toes and burned all the way up to my throat, choking me. I'm going to kill her, I said calmly, staring at the wall. No, Bowen said, taking the phone gently from my hand. We're going to destroy her, but we have to be smart. We need proof before we blow this up. I went to my laptop and opened it on the kitchen island. My fingers flew across the keyboard. Halston thought she was clever. She had blocked my personal Instagram account so I wouldn't see her trip. She thought she had covered her tracks, but she was sloppy. She forgot about my old photography business page, Emberly Captures, which I hadn't used in 2 years. I logged in. Her profile was public. Of course it was. She wanted the world to see her wealth, she just didn't want me to see it. I scrolled through her feed. The emergency money was transferred 3 days ago. Her first post from Chelum was 2 days ago, hours after she claimed she was weeping at the hospital. Touchdown in paradise. Needed this reset. Airplane clinking glasses, first-class self-care boss babe. There was a photo of her legs stretched out in a lie-flat airline seat. She was holding a glass of champagne, the bubbles catching the light. I zoomed in on the ticket stub peeking out of her passport holder on the tray table. The date was Tuesday morning. She had booked the flight 4 hours after stealing my money. She had used my tears to buy champagne. I needed to be absolutely certain. I needed to give her one chance to confess, one chance to prove she wasn't a complete monster. Maybe she was in Chelum and her mom was sick. Maybe she was manic. I needed to trap her in the lie. I picked up my phone and typed out a text. My hands were shaking. Me, hey Halston, I'm so worried about Petra. I haven't heard from you in a day. How did the surgery go? Can I send flowers to the room? Or food? The 3 dots appeared instantly. She was glued to her phone, probably checking her likes on the yacht photo. Halston, hey babe, it's touch and go. Doctors are really worried about infection rates. I haven't slept in 24 hours. I look like a zombie, just staying by her bedside holding her hand. I'll let you know when she's stable enough for flowers. Love you. I stared at the text, staying by her bedside. She was lying to my face while sitting on a beach in Mexico. She was typing love you while robbing me. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Halston sent a photo to sell the lie. It was a close-up, dramatic shot of a hospital bed. A frail, wrinkled hand with an IV taped to the thin skin was resting on a blue hospital blanket. Another hand, Halston's, presumably, with her signature manicure, was holding it gently. "Halston, pray for her, she's fighting so hard," folded hands. It looked heartbreaking. It looked real. For a second, I doubted myself. Maybe the yacht video was old. Maybe she posted a laddergram to keep up appearances. "Don't fall for it," Bowen said. "Check it." I saved the photo to my camera roll. I opened the Google app and selected Google Lens. I uploaded the image. The results populated in less than a second. The exact same photo appeared on 20 different websites. It was a stock image from Shutterstock. The title of the image was, "Close-up of daughter holding senior mother's hand in hospital, coping with grief." She had literally Googled "sick mom hospital hand" and sent me the first result. The audacity was breathtaking. The lie was absolute. She wasn't just a thief, she was lazy. My mind was racing, connecting dots I had ignored in my panic on Tuesday night. The flight. When Halston called me crying, she said her credit cards were maxed out from medical bills. She asked if I could help her book a flight home from her work trip in Miami to get to Ohio faster. She claimed she didn't have the points and couldn't afford the last-minute fare. I had used my own airline mileage account, my frequent flyer miles I saved for our baby moon, to book her a one-way ticket from Miami to Cleveland. Wait. I logged into the airline portal. I went to my trips. There was the booking, but it wasn't Miami to Cleveland. It was a round-trip ticket, New York JFK to Cholum. She had logged into my account. I had given her the password years ago for a genuine emergency when her wallet was stolen, and booked herself a first-class round-trip ticket to Mexico using my points. She changed the destination and hoped I wouldn't check the receipt. The return flight was booked for tomorrow at 2:00 p.m. "Check the credit card," Bowen said from over my shoulder, his voice tight. I froze. I had given Halston my credit card number over the phone that night. She said she needed it for the hospital vending machines, the parking garage fees, and the pharmacy for Petra's post-op meds. She said she didn't have any cash. I trusted her. I logged into my Chase account. My eyes widened as the page loaded. Pending charges. Sephora, Mexico City Airport, $432.50. Four Seasons Spa, Cholum, $850. Coco Bongo VIP table, $300. Uber Black, $120. Resort fee, $500. There were no pharmacy charges, no hospital parking, just luxury, vanity, and booze. She was burning through my credit limit faster than I could earn it. She was treating my credit card like a winning lottery ticket. "Call the bank," Bowen said, handing me the phone. "Right now." I dialed the number on the back of my card. My voice was steady, cold, detached from the rage burning inside me. "I need to report my card stolen," I told the representative. "There are unauthorized charges in Mexico. I am in Ohio. I did not make these purchases." "We can freeze that immediately, ma'am," the agent said, typing in the background. "We will investigate the charges and issue a chargeback. The card is now declined. No further transactions will go through." "Thank you," I said. Then I turned back to the laptop. The airline portal was still open. I looked at the itinerary status. Halston was currently on a short-hop flight from Cholum to Mexico City, where she had a layover before the long international flight back to New York. She was in the air right now. She was flying toward a layover, thinking everything was perfect. I looked at the Manage Booking button next to the return flight leg. Mexico City, Mex, to New York, JFK. It was a first-class ticket. Because I had used points and paid the extra fee for premium flex insurance, the ticket was fully refundable up until 2 hours before departure. She was landing in 45 minutes. The flight to New York didn't leave for another 3 hours. Halston was midair on the short flight. She would land in Mexico City. She would have to go to the transfer desk to check in for the international leg because it was a different partner airline. She would need a valid ticket. My hand shook as I hovered the mouse over the button. It felt heavy, like holding a weapon. "Do it," Bowen whispered, his hand on my shoulder. She stole our baby, Emberly. She stole our hope. Do it. I clicked cancel booking. A confirmation box popped up. Are you sure? You will receive a full refund of 80,000 miles and $150 in taxes. I clicked yes. The screen refreshed. Booking canceled. Refund processed. Halston now had no ticket for the 5-hour flight home. She was landing in a foreign country with no ticket, a frozen credit card, and a lie that was about to collapse on top of her. I needed to know the specific timing. I called Zayla, my friend who worked in corporate travel logistics. Zayla lived for drama and had access to flight tracking data that the public didn't see. Zayla, I said, I need you to track a passenger, Halston Miller. I explained everything in a rush. Zayla gasped so loud I thought she choked on her coffee. Oh, she is done, Zayla said, typing furiously in the background. Okay, looking her up. She lands in Mexico City in 20 minutes. She has a tight connection, only 90 minutes. She's going to rush to the gate. She won't have time to check the app. When she scans her boarding pass at the transfer desk, red light, beep beep, access denied. What happens then? I asked. She's stranded in the international terminal, Zayla laughed darkly. She can't leave the airport without going through customs, and she can't get on a plane. And since you froze the card, she can't buy a new ticket. A same-day, one-way international ticket purchased at the counter. That's going to be at least $2,000. We waited. The minutes ticked by like hours. The silence in our apartment was heavy with anticipation. Bowen poured us wine. We sat in the living room, staring at my phone on the coffee table. 4 hours later, it rang. It was Halston. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again immediately. Then a text popped up. Halston, baby, weirdest thing. My card isn't working at the duty-free shop. I'm trying to buy some tequila for you. Can you unlock it? I think the bank flagged it for fraud because I'm in. Because I bought something online from a weird site. She was still lying. She was still trying to con me. She didn't know I knew she was in Mexico. She thought she could just talk her way through the card decline. I didn't reply. I just sipped my wine. 10 minutes later, the texts turned frantic. The tone shifted from entitled best friend to panicked victim. The reality was setting in. Halston, Emberly, pick up. The gate agent says my ticket doesn't exist. They won't let me on the plane. What is going on? Halston, I'm stuck at the gate. They're closing the doors. Emberly. Halston, hello. Are you getting these? My phone rang again. FaceTime this time. She wanted me to see her distress. I looked at Bowen. He nodded. Put it on speaker. I want to hear this. I answered the audio call. Emberly, Halston screamed, the sound of airport announcements blaring in the background. Fix this. They canceled my ticket. It says refunded by user. Why did you do that? I know, I said calmly. I canceled it. What? She sounded breathless like she had been running. Why? Are you crazy? My mom is dying. I need to get home to her. How could you do this to me right now? I'm alone in an airport. I just spoke to Petra, I said. The line went dead silent. The background noise of the airport hummed, people walking, announcements in Spanish, the beep of carts. You spoke to my mom. Halston's voice dropped an octave. The hysterical act vanished instantly. Yes, I said. She's at bingo. She says hello. And she's very surprised to hear you're in Cholum. She thought you were on a work retreat in Miami. There was a long pause. I could hear her breathing. She was calculating. She was trying to find a new angle, a new lie to spin. You don't understand, she finally said, her voice trembling with forced emotion. The pressure of life was getting to me, my job, the debt. I felt like I was drowning, Emberly. I needed a mental health break or I was going to snap. I was going to pay you back. I swear, I just needed to escape. You stole $5,000 from my IVF fund, I said. You stole the money for my child so you could drink champagne on a boat. I borrowed it, she yelled. And how can you leave me stranded in Mexico City? That's dangerous. I'm a woman alone. That's abuse, Emberly. You're endangering me. I'm endangering you, I laughed, a harsh sound that scraped my throat. You spent my money on spas and VIP tables. You have a designer watch on your wrist that cost more than my medical treatments. That's a fake, she lied instantly. It's a knockoff, I bought it on the street. It looked real on the live stream, I said. The one from the yacht. The one where you said you were living your best life on the company dime. She gasped. You saw that? I see everything, Halston. I see the stock photo of the hospital hand. I see the charges at Sephora. I see you. I finally see you. Emberly, please, she begged, switching tactics again to pure desperation. I have no money. My cards are declined. I can't buy a ticket. I'm stuck here. Please just rebook it. I'll pay you back double. I swear on my life. I'll sign a contract. You spent my IVF money on champagne, Halston, I repeated. I'm not rebooking your ticket, and since the credit card is frozen and reported as stolen, good luck getting home. You can't do this, she screamed. I'm your best friend. No, I said. My best friend wouldn't steal my future. I hung up. I blocked the number for 10 minutes just to breathe. 10 minutes later, my phone blew up. Halston, desperate and narcissistic to the core, went on her Instagram stories, her main account, which she reactivated in a panic. She posted a video of herself crying in the airport terminal. Mascara ran down her cheeks. She looked pathetic and terrified. Guys, I am stranded in Mexico City. My so-called best friend canceled my ticket home out of jealousy because I came here for a mental health retreat. She left me here with no money. I'm terrified. Please, if anyone can help, Venmo me. She's a monster who abandoned me in a foreign country. She tagged me. My DMs started filling up with hateful messages from her followers who bought the act. How could you? You're evil. She could be kidnapped. She wants a war, Bowen said, cracking his knuckles as he watched the messages roll in. Let's give her a war. I opened my Instagram. I created a simple 3-slide story. Slide 1, a screenshot of her text from Tuesday morning. Mom had a massive heart attack. Needs $5,000 for emergency surgery or she dies. Please help. Slide 2, the stock photo she sent of the hospital hand, side by side with the Google image search result showing it was a fake stock image titled, Coping with Grief. Slide 3, the Venmo receipt showing the $5,000 transfer from me labeled Baby Fund, time-stamped just before she booked her flight to Chelum. I added one caption. She stole my IVF savings to go to Chelum and lied about her mother dying. I canceled the flight I paid for. She can swim home. I posted it. The internet works fast. Within 20 minutes, the tide turned. Her comments section was flooded with outrage. People were tagging her employer. People were tagging the police. The monster narrative collapsed instantly under the weight of receipts. An hour later, my phone rang. It was Petra. I braced myself. Halston was her daughter. Mothers protect their children, usually. Emberly, Petra's voice was shaky, quiet. Hi, Petra, I'm so sorry, I said. I didn't want you to find out this way. Don't be sorry, Petra said. I saw the posts my neighbor showed me. I had no idea. She said you were dying, I said gently. She used you to steal from me. She called me on Tuesday, Petra whispered. She asked to borrow $2,000 for rent. She said she was about to be evicted. I gave it to her. That was my pension money. We sat in silence, 2 women robbed by the same person we loved. I offered to pay you back, Petra said, her voice trembling. I can take a loan against my house. No, I said firmly. Absolutely not. You are a victim here too. Halston needs to feel this. Do not send her money, Petra, please. If you rescue her now, she will never stop. I won't, Petra said, her voice hardening with resolve. She's on her own. Stranded in Mexico City with no money, no ticket, and a mother who wasn't answering, Halston realized no help was coming. Her GoFundMe was reported for fraud by hundreds of people and taken down within the hour. According to Zayla, who was still tracking her movements via the airline systems, Halston spent the night sleeping on the cold floor of the terminal. The next morning, she had to make a choice. She went to a pawn shop kiosk in the airport. She sold the Cartier watch. She sold her designer bag. She got pennies on the dollar, just enough to buy a one-way economy ticket on a budget airline. It wasn't a direct flight. It had 3 layovers. It was a 24-hour journey in a middle seat, in the back row by the bathrooms. Halston landed in New York 24 hours later. She was disheveled, exhausted, and furious. She didn't go home. She came straight to my apartment. I heard the banging on the door at 9:00 p.m. It sounded like she was trying to break it down. "Emberly, open this door," she screamed. "I know you're in there." Bowen stood by the door, his arms crossed, looking formidable. He had already changed the keypad code and alerted the doorman, but Halston had slipped in behind a delivery guy before security could stop her. I checked the Ring camera feed on my phone. Halston looked deranged. Her hair was matted, her makeup smeared. She looked like the chaos she was. "I'm going to sue you," she shouted at the camera lens, spitting as she yelled. "For endangerment, for emotional distress. You ruined my reputation. I lost followers." I pressed the talk button on the intercom. "Go home, Halston," I said calmly. "You owe me," she screeched. "You stranded me." "I have texts where you called the money a loan," I said. "I have bank statements showing fraud. I have a confession from your mother that you scammed her too. If you sue me, I will countersue for the vacation cost, the stolen funds, legal fees, and emotional damages. I will drag you into court and show a jury the picture of you drinking champagne while you claimed your mother was dying." I paused. "Do you really want a judge to see that?" She froze. She looked at the camera, then at the door. She knew she would lose. She kicked my door one last time, leaving a black scuff mark, and stormed off down the hallway. The fallout was total. Mutual friends who had initially sided with Halston saw the receipts. They saw the baby fund transfer. That was the nail in the coffin. You can be messy, you can be dramatic, but you don't steal from an infertile woman to party. It's a line you don't cross. Halston was kicked out of the group chat. She was uninvited from 2 upcoming weddings. Her employer saw the viral posts and fired her for conduct unbecoming and potential liability. She lost her job, her friends, and her reputation overnight. She had to move back in with Petra, who made her pay rent and confiscated her passport. 6 months later, I sat in Dr. Aris's waiting room again. The sage green walls looked brighter this time, less oppressive. I looked at my phone. I had blocked Halston on everything, but I saw a notification that a new account, Halston New Start, had tried to follow me. I smiled and clicked block. I didn't feel anger anymore. I just felt relief. Then the nurse called my name. "Emberly." I stood up, placing a hand on my stomach. The IVF had worked. It had taken extra shifts, a small settlement from Halston's parents, who insisted on paying back the $5,000 to avoid a criminal fraud case against their daughter, and a lot of stress, but it had worked. I was pregnant. I walked back to the exam room, my phone buzzing with an email confirmation. I had just used the refunded airline points, the ones from Halston's canceled flight, to book a baby moon for Bowen and me. We were going to Hawaii. First class. The parasite was gone. My life, and the new life growing inside me, was finally my own.